Hi everyone, Dr. Jeff here with you again. I hope you enjoyed the snow we had this week. It was certainly lots of fun to drive in.
Yes.
Good for business for us. Lots of car accidents and slips and falls. So it's always good for us and auto body dealers. It's really good. So exciting week. What are we talking about this week?
So this week we're talking about osteoporosis. So osteoporosis is the decreasing or diminishing of your bone mass and bone density. So you have something called the trabecular pattern within your bone, and that starts to kind of disintegrate.
So when we take an X-ray of you and we want to look at your bones and your skeletal system, one thing we do check for is something called your trabecular pattern. So if you're looking at a bone, you're seeing these kind of lines, almost like those ring bars you get in cement to make the cement harder when you're building a building. So we're looking at that trabecular pattern. If you notice that the trabecular pattern is starting to diminish a little bit, that's a sign that you may be starting with some osteoporosis. Now, osteoporosis is not something that is body-wise. It's very specific in where it goes. So when you go get a bone density test, what we're looking for is, they'll say you've got a little bit of loss of bone in your left hip or your sacrum or your lumbar spine, your ribs, because the areas generally osteoporosis like to goes to is your spine, your pelvis, your hips, and your ribs.
Cool. Yeah, so osteoporosis isn't normally, we call it a silent disease because you don't really have symptoms to it. The only time you kind of figure out you have osteoporosis is when you fall and you might like fracture a rib or your wrist. That's a lot easier than you'd think it would be. And then, like Jeff said, we would take an X-ray and then it would look like osteoporosis.
So who's at risk for osteoporosis? Well, generally this is a lady's disease, generally caused by hormones. As you get older, your hormonal release gets a little less, and your bone quality goes down. Sometimes guys can get it if they're on certain types of drugs or they're suffering from some sort of hormonal issues themselves. And again, certain types of drugs can actually diminish your bone quality and bone density. Also, if you like to drink too much alcohol or too much coffee, that can lead to diminished bone density. And lack of exercise. If you're lug and all you do is sit on the couch, chances are you're going to lose your bone density.
Yeah, so the key thing that we want to think about is prevention. So it's really hard to build back that tubercular pattern once it's already been breaking down. With women, it starts more in the age of 20. So you want to start with, exercising, because like Jeff said earlier, you really want to stress those bones to help prevent the decreasing of the trabecular pattern, as well as you want to really get the proper nutrition in. So half your bone is made up of calcium, but the other half is bone salts. Now, a lot of people forget about bone salts. It's a very key aspect of your diet. So it involves magnesium,
Selenium,
chromium, a bunch of things.
Yep.
So you can get that through supplementations. Now, another thing is avoid excess alcohol consumption as well as caffeine.
So with osteoporosis, as we mentioned, it's called the silent killer because you really don't know you have it until it's too late. It's very important that we start preventing it early. That's one reason why, if you haven't had a bone density test done and you're over 50 for sure, you should be talking to your doctor about getting a bone density test done. And if you're concerned about it, you can talk to your doctor about maybe getting it done earlier. There is some talk that the government may start doing this at an earlier age. We'll see, because again, once you have osteoporosis, it is difficult to get everything back.
So that's all we have for you guys today. Feel free to comment anything like questions or anything you want to see next. And always smash that like button. And here at Gold's With You Wellness, we got your back.